You have to be careful. It's a delicate touch that's needed. These cars do have a lot of horsepower, but I think it's a super training ground for future IndyCar racers.
So, round 3 of the new season, 1988, HFC ARS racing is just ahead. We'll look at the grid and get the green flag in just a moment. Jeff Andretti from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, trying to get the season on track. So far, very disappointing. In row number 6, Ted Prappas on the inside, coming off a 5th and a 6th on the ovals. He's competed here at Portland before. 2 retirements, and we have a crash out on the race course. 2 cars have come together, as you see right there, and there's a safety truck already on the scene. I'm not exactly sure what transpired there. That's the number 2 car of Jeff Andretti.
That was a very strange situation because we saw the safety truck almost in the middle of that accident.
And Ted Prappas, the other one involved. I'm not exactly sure what had happened. Fontanasi had just gone off the course in a cloud of dust and gotten out of his car, and suddenly that situation erupts. It's on the backside of the course. There you see the safety truck, and Jeff Andretti trying to get down inside. He comes in contact with the safety truck across in front and hits Prappas. T-boned him as they were going opposite sides of the safety truck, and there are 2 heavily damaged cars. Hopefully, the drivers are all right. We did see Jeff Andretti moving around in the cockpit, and Ted Prappas is out of his machine as well. But there we see they're going no further.
There we see Jeff's car. He will obviously take no further part. That was a most unusual incident. We see Jeff sitting down here. Perhaps he has a foot injury, maybe, if he has to sit down like that. But that was a most unusual incident. The safety truck seemed to squeeze Jeff into the wall on that right side, and yet there was another car, Prappas, coming down the left-hand side. So that was a most unusual situation to have the safety truck involved in such an incident.
Well, he definitely took a hard hit as he was squeezed against the wall, then came across in front with that safety truck towering over him. He got it clear of that, but did hit Prappas right in the side with the nose of his car. There you see Prappas walking away under his own power. Apparently both men probably shaken, but otherwise no significant damage, and that's good news. That was a big hit.
Prappas, I'm sure, is wondering what went on here. I was free and clear and passing a safety truck, and suddenly I get T-boned, because he really had nothing to do with this incident at all. Jeff Andretti suddenly appeared sideways in front of a safety truck. I can only think that maybe both drivers decided to pick one each side, and perhaps the safety vehicle thought all cars were going down the left-hand side, while Jeff Andretti, in fact, was squeezed into the wall, and now we have a full yellow situation to try and clean up this mess.
So they'll put the pace car out and gather up the field. Ted Prappas walking away from the scene, and you saw many of the men from the Horton safety team who take care of all the race car drivers in ARS and Indy cars. Here it is again. I've never seen anything like that. Andretti going by on the right side between the truck and the wall. He caught it. Looked like his left rear tire on the side of that truck came right across in front and just walloped Ted Prappas, T-boned him right in the side pod.
I think the important part of this accident to look at it is the very first part of that slow-mo replay. The safety vehicle was in fact on the left side of the road when Jeff Andretti made the commitment to pass on the right. Then the safety vehicle moved across, and this may be just go down to a racing incident, but I think Jeff made the decision just as that safety truck moved to what he thought was probably a safe position, and Jeff was already there because of the speed that he arrived at. So Jeff Andretti, in a very unfortunate situation, caught really nothing by his own doing.
Full course yellow on the course at Portland. We'll be back with the restart after this. Back at Portland, still under yellow after one of the most unusual racing incidents you will ever see involving Jeff Andretti and Ted Prappas. Let's go to the pits.
Chris, I'm with Ted Prappas in the pits. Ted, what happened out there?
Well, it was real hard to say, but they had the service vehicle on the course. Really, I don't know why. They weren't going to bring in a car, but Jeff Andretti was the leading of our little pack of 4 cars, and he went to go along the right side, which is really the racing line, and the service vehicle kind of moved over, at least that's what I could see, moved over on him, and he just had nowhere to go, and then he clipped the wall in the service vehicle, and then we all went around the left of the service vehicle, but Jeff came spinning around in front of the truck, and then I had nowhere to go, and I ran into Jeff's car, so Jeff's all right. I think he's stuck on the other side of the track, so he couldn't get back in here. But I mean, the cars aren't in the best of shapes, but they're all repairable, and we're all right. So I'm not exactly sure what would happen with the service vehicle, but I think he should have just stayed on the left side of the road, as far as I could tell. So I guess that's something they'll have to sort out with each other. But okay, thank you. No problem.
Thankfully, that man is all right, as is Jeff Andretti, who is not stuck on the far side of the track. We're still under yellow, as you can see, as they warm up the racing tires, and those that are left try to get back into the racing business with Tommy Byrne, the first behind the pace car. Meantime, we can go back to the pits. Jesse Lasada has Jeff.
Chris, we're down in the pits with Jeffrey Andretti. Jeffrey, what happened out there with that truck?
Oh, what happened was coming on off of turn 5, I saw a white flag for a vehicle on the racetrack. I saw the safety vehicle as we were going down the backstretch, and the minute I got up to him, all of a sudden he just pulled out onto the racetrack and came over 2 lanes onto the racetrack, right into me. He squeezed me against the outside guardrail, and so I figured I broke real hard so I wouldn't get into the guardrail. And then I thought he was letting me go, and then he came more, and he tagged my rear of my car and spun me right around the front of the safety truck. And at that point, Ted Prappas had T-boned me on the other side.
But you're okay.
I'm fine, thanks.
Thank you.
And that's the good news, of course, always, Derek. They're both all right. One of the stranger things, and I don't know, Jeff went to the right. Is it possible the man didn't see him?
I think there will be a lot of discussion as to how exactly that happened to try and stop it happening again, but it's hard to say when the decision was made for Jeff to go to the right and the service vehicle to go to the right. But thankfully, the machinery can be replaced, and Jeff Andretti, whose career in ARS is not really going exactly as he wanted.